Right now, your inner critic is the biggest block to the change you want. When you're trying to reinvent yourself after 40, why does your mind feel like it's betraying you? The answer changes everything. It's a very old survival strategy that accidentally became toxic. Today, we're going to break down why our self-talk is broken, why it's not actually our personal failure, and how to finally heal the patterns that are holding us back. Let's talk about that voice in your head for a second. The one that is ready with a mean comment just when you're about to do something new. The one that says things like, who do you think you are? Or you should have figured this all out by now. It sounds like you, but it's not really. We came into this world wild and curious, talking too loud and coloring outside the lines. Then little by little, we started picking up rules. We didn't just learn how to talk. We learned what was okay to say, how much space we could take, and what it cost us to stand out. Think about when we were growing up. Maybe you heard not to make a scene when you were clearly upset. Maybe you got praised for being a very good girl who didn't cause problems. Maybe you watched women in your life get easily dismissed when they spoke up. Every moment like that left a small imprint. And over time, those imprints became the background of your entire life. Now, when we try to take a chance, we start a business, we go back to school, or we walk away from something that doesn't feel right anymore. That old voice inside our head shows up and says, you're not ready. Or, oh, that's risky. What will people say? And it feels like the truth. We have all lived with that voice for so long that it's easy to mistake it for who we truly are. But that voice is built from someone else's fear and was seeded in our heads years ago by tired, scared, and most likely well-meaning people. Those who wanted you mainly to be safe and not necessarily be fulfilled. And for many of us in midlife, this is exactly where the tug of war begins. A part of us knows we want more. We can just feel it deep down. But another part says you should be grateful for what you have already. Isn't it too late to change? So it feels like you are driving with the gas pedal and the brake pressed at the same time. I wonder why we feel stuck. The simple truth is that we didn't choose those voices and they don't define us. They only tell about the environments we grew up in. And once we start noticing it, everything shifts. That's when we can begin rewriting the story of who we are and what is possible for us. If this feels familiar and you are ready to change the way you talk to yourself, make sure to subscribe. We're learning how to rewrite our inner patterns together so you don't miss the simple tools that actually work. Now let's go deeper. If these voices are not truly ours, why do we hang on so tight to them? This part might surprise us. That mean voice in our heads is trying to keep us safe. Think of the inner critic like it's your beloved but overprotective dog. It barks at anything that looks suspicious, even when no one's really in danger. And that's what our self-talk does too. It scans any risks and gives us warnings like, oh, don't do that. You'll regret it. Its goal is simple protection. Most of that fear began as a kind of survival language. Maybe you shared something you were really proud of as a kid, like a drawing, and someone laughed, and you decided, I won't share this next time. A few years forward, and that same line still runs in the background. Don't embarrass yourself. don't share. That's how old rules keep replaying. This is why we hold ourselves back. We say no to new opportunities, avoid going after what we want, and second guess our choices. Because part of us still believes risk equals pain. The inner critic keeps saying, don't get too happy. Might go wrong. Be careful. Be realistic. We might think it's our logic, maybe intuition, but what it really is our fear. It helps to think of these rules like an old, overgrown fence. Maybe years ago it was useful to keep animals away from our garden, but now it's so tangled, it's so tall that it's blocking sunlight from reaching the new seeds we are planting. It's actually draining the life out of our new possibilities. For many of us at this stage of life, that protection shows up in very specific ways. Maybe we tone ourselves down during meetings because we don't want to seem too pushy. Maybe we stay in jobs or relationship long past their season because we tell ourselves it's too late to start over. Just simple acknowledgement of that gives us room to speak differently to ourselves. So how do we actually start updating these old patterns? The first step is looking at our beliefs behind them. Real change starts with noticing what's really going on inside. We can't change the way we talk to ourselves until we see the exact phrases, the exact rules that keep looping in our minds. Let's try something right now. If you can pause this video, grab some notebook or even just maybe your phone, I want you to finish the sentences with the very first thing that pops into your head. I am, life is, people are, my future is. Just write and don't think. What came up? Maybe something like, I'm behind where I should be, or life is harder than I expected, or people don't really get me, or my future feels uncertain. Whatever showed up, that's your inner voice talking. This journaling works because it turns your feelings into something you can actually see on paper. Thoughts often feel like facts in your head, but when you write them down, you move them to paper where you can look at them more clearly. You can read what you wrote and ask, do I actually believe this? Or is this something I learned a long time ago? Another place to tune in is your body. When your chest tightens or you suddenly feel anxious, it's your inner critic showing up again. Maybe you try something new and here you're not ready for this change. What makes you so special? Most of us have a few repeat lines that show up anytime we step forward and start something bigger. Each moment you notice a limiting thought, count it as a progress. The awareness itself is healing. And when you can meet that thought with little softness instead of judgment, you have already started to change the pattern. I would say the simple truth about healing your inner voice. You want to become the friend to yourself that you have always been to others. Think about how you talk to someone you love when they were struggling. You don't tell them they're stupid or they're behind in their life. You listen, you understand, and you offer genuine support. So when you're about to speak up in a meeting and that voice says, they'll think you're not prepared. Imagine your best friend sitting next to you. What would she whisper in your ear? Maybe something like, you know your own heart. Just trust that feeling. That's exactly the voice you need to cultivate inside. Let's say you are considering a career change at 45 and the critic jumps in with, you should have figured this out years ago. A good friend would never say that. Should say, I'm so proud of you. It takes so much courage to change the direction. You are an inspiration. Start saying those same words to yourself. This friendship with yourself shows up in the smallest moments. When you feel like you made a mistake and feel like hiding, she'd remind you, you just found a way that doesn't work for you. How is that a mistake? That's a real progress. This conversation with yourself needs to be real and honest, just like with any close relationship. If you're scared about taking a risk, recognize it. I am terrified this won't work out again, but I am okay. Fear does not mean I shouldn't try. And good friends always love to celebrate wins. When you sign up for that class, when you set a boundary, those moments deserve recognition. Just tell yourself, I'm so proud of what I'm doing. It wasn't easy, and I did it anyway. And here is something crucial to remember, I think. You wouldn't expect a friend to change overnight, would you? So don't expect it from yourself. When the old patterns show up, and they will, treat them like you would treat a friend who's having a bad day. You would be patient, you understanding, and remind her that tomorrow is a new day. This is about building a genuine relationship with yourself based on respect, honesty, and care. The same way you would never abandon a friend going through a hard time, you don't abandon yourself when things get difficult. You show up, you listen, and you offer the kind of support that actually helps. Here's what I want you to remember. That voice in your head doesn't get to decide who you become. It's been running the same old script for decades, but you hold the pen now and you get to write the new lines. Every woman watching this has carried these borrowed voices for too long. We have let fear masquerade as wisdom. But today, start speaking to yourself like the woman you're becoming. In next video, we'll rewrite those old stories that keeps you small and create new patterns that help to build the life you want. Make sure you subscribed because this work changes everything. I'll see you there.